And welcome to another edition of Perfect Game Softball. I'm Brett Dolan, joined by Sierra Romero. We've got a couple of great guests coming up as well. Megan Wiggins, Danielle O'Toole. But Sierra, wanted to talk to you. There's nothing going on in your world right now with softball, with finishing off in California, Chicago coming up soon, your brother getting ready for the draft. What has this last couple of weeks been like in the Romero household?
I mean, it's going to be hectic. I'm looking forward to traveling down to San Diego to be there for my brother and the family, just to see what happens and, show my love and support. And then, we have Megan Wiggins, who's one of the best to ever play the game, somebody that I've looked up to, and she's a great athlete, great human being. So I'm excited to have her on. And then you have Danielle O'Toole, who, probably by far one of the smartest, best pitchers I've ever had the opportunity to play with and just talk shop with. She really gets it, and she's very with it as a pitcher and understands both sides of the game. So I'm excited to have them on and talk softball with them.
Yeah, great guest. Certainly talking about this professional softball circuit. How much fun did you have personally playing in California?
It was the time of my life. I don't remember the last time that my family's been able to come out and not only watch me play, but my sister Sydney, and to have us both on the field. And, it's been a while since I'd been at 100% since my knee injury. So just to have my family there, be able to see everyone and play in beautiful San Diego. The weather couldn't have been any better. And just being around all those like-minded and great athletes in such a good, fun environment. I'm so excited for Chicago, because if that's how AUX went, Chicago's about to be so much fun.
I put myself, though, in your shoes. You're talking about being healthy and playing, but playing with your sister, also playing near home where your family can watch you. There's so much going on just beyond playing the game that really makes me appreciate how much you must have enjoyed this past stretch.
It was a blessing. When I found out that AUX was going to be in California, it was kind of a no-brainer that I was going to do it no matter what. It was a lot of games in a short period of time, but I also knew too that my body did need to be tested. And I also was like, you know what? It's going to be tested, but I'm also going to be around my family and my sister at the same time. So what a better time to go for it and really see what my knee is made of and what it can handle. And it just showed that all the training and everything I did was worth it, and made me stronger in the end. And like I said, to top it off, to have my family and, my siblings there and getting to see them and going to lunch and just hanging out was just kind of that full circle moment for me of this is why you did this. This is why you came back after the multiple surgeries. This is why you kept pushing, just so you could have a moment like this. Because I haven't had that probably since college. But even then, Sydney and I were at a different school. So, we'd have to link up at the same tournament to play against each other. So it was a blessing, definitely.
So much hard work goes into rehab. I'm sure there's some trepidation, as you mentioned, when you get back out there, certainly with the schedule of games. Was there satisfaction? Was there relief? Was there joy? When you get out there, you test everything, and it feels pretty good.
It definitely does. It gives me a new perspective on the game. I will never take playing and being fully mobile for granted ever again. I'll never forget stepping onto the field for the first time at AUX for the first game. And I couldn't even begin to explain all the feelings. When I got to second base, when I was on defense, I just remember I almost started crying. I couldn't believe that I was back out there. I can't begin to tell you how many times I contemplated retiring during my recovery, because it was just too much, mentally, physically, just emotionally. It was a lot. And having to go back for surgery after surgery, I was like, this is it. This is just my body's way of telling me that I'm done and it just can't recover from this. And, I don't know what it was exactly that made me kind of flip the switch to turn it on and just kind of go for it. I think I was just tired of being tired. I was tired of just the way I was feeling. And I decided, you know what? I don't care. I don't care if I re-injure myself. I don't care what happens. I'm just going to go for it. And I just had to be okay with the fact that it was going to be a little painful for a little while, and I was going to be able to push through it. But, this was just one of those moments where it's just amazing. All the years of the pain that I was having to come to this moment and to be on the field, and for that first weekend to be on the field with my sister, it was just it was written up for me. That's how it was supposed to happen.
It feels almost like a movie or television show, and you used the word amazing. I visited with a rookie, Danielle Gibson, just a couple of days ago. She's from California, and I asked her about the experience, but she said I got to play in front of my family because they've been traveling to Arkansas to see me or around the SEC. So what did it mean to your family, not necessarily you, but to have the two sisters playing together or to be able to have it in the backyard, to be able to watch you come back from rehab? What was going through your family members' minds, if I could ask?
I think it was, they were just so proud. And I'm sure Gibby's family would say the same thing, because when you're training as an athlete and you're trying to get to that next level, it's not just you. Like, yes, you're putting in the work, you're doing all that stuff that needs to be done, but like your family is too. They're sacrificing, they're paying for the travel ball, they're paying for all this stuff, they're making the trip. So I feel like it's a family thing. It's not just your success and what you have going on. There's so much more to it. And I think that that's what needs to be recognized too, is just the fact that like our family did this and we got to this point because we collectively as a team did what we had to do to get both Cindy and I to this point. And this is just one of those moments where it all paid off. And here we are in California and they get to come watch us. And I think that they were just really proud, and they both know all the time, energy, effort that's gone into getting us to where we are today, when it comes from them as the parents, but also when it comes to Cindy and I as the athletes. And, I think it's just one of those things where we all can just kind of take a deep breath and like sit back and appreciate and just be so like proud of how far we've come.
Yeah, I just love hearing you just take us through that entire situation. One more thought then. Little brother has a big couple of days coming up. What's it going to be like? How excited or anxious are you for him? And what will this experience be like?
I don't really know what to expect. I know that leading up to draft day, a lot of things can change. A lot of things can go a million different ways. But no matter what happens on the 17th, I'm just going to be there to show support. And I know what he's capable of. I know how good he is mentally, physically. And I'm so proud. Again, it's one of those things where we as a family have collectively done this. Obviously, he's done a lot of the hard work of the training and everything else, but, the family takes or plays a role in it as well. And, whether it's getting him to practices or training with him, just different things. And it's a group effort. Ultimately, it's a family effort. And I'm just so proud and excited for him because he deserves the world. And I'm excited to see what he does.
What a great month for the Romero family, whether it's professional softball, the MLB draft coming up soon. Just can't wait to keep following what is going to take place. We've got a great show for you as well. We're going to talk to Danielle O'Toole a little bit later on. But next up, Megan Wiggins. We'll visit with Megan when Perfect Game Softball continues. And welcome back to Perfect Game Softball. Brett Dolan and Sierra Romero. And we're joined by Megan Wiggins. In between the Athletes Unlimited season, just about ready to crank things up in Chicago at the end of the month. But Megan, welcome. And tell me what the first half of this season was like out in California.
Well, the weather was nice, so that's good. Didn't have to worry about rain or anything like that in California. Honestly, it was good. I think there was a lot of great competitive games, which is all you can ask for. A lot of us, still getting the dust off a little bit, getting the cobwebs off a little bit from the off season. So it was a good warm up, I think. And, just to see how competitive it was as a warm up per se, I think, going into Chicago, it's going to be even better with the amount of, games that we have a little bit more, and then just the level of competition. So
we've played together now for like 6 or 7 years, basically since I got on the Pride, and then now even with Athletes Unlimited. And I feel like you've just continued to get better. You're definitely like one of those veterans that like I'll look to. And I'm always curious about your swing and how you approach different at-bats, because I can see like the wheels turning when you're hitting. So like, what is your approach when you are in the box, whether it's like a 2-strike or someone you're just battling with, whether you feel good or not good? What's that hitting approach that you always have?
I think for me, it's been such a, past the physicality of hitting, because that's just practice. And I think at our level, professionally, there has to be a little bit more than that. And I think a lot of that is just the mental capacity that you bring to your at bat, and then bring to, your preparation and knowing, we know who we're going to face. We know who's on the other team, and just trying to get in their heads as far as like their strengths, their weaknesses, and, putting myself in their shoes. Like, what would I throw me right now? What's my best pitch as a pitcher, because that's what I'm going to throw her, and sort of try to think of the mental side of things, because I think as a pro athlete, you're facing great hitters all the time. So you can't do the same thing. And so just mixing in just the physicality of, my skill set and being able to get in the heads of the pitchers I'm facing, and try to use that to my best of abilities, I think has been able to, allow me to be a good hitter for so long, and then continue to do so.
You've been playing for a long time now, and like you said, it's more of that mental side, like the physical stuff you already know, your body knows it, the muscle memory. But like, how do you think you got to that point? Because I'm sure some of these younger athletes, like they want to get there a lot quicker. I know it's maybe time and everything else, but like, what helped you get to that point? Because I feel like that is what separates like the good from the great athlete. And sometimes it just takes us a while to get there. But maybe what would you have done sooner if you knew then what you know now?
I think for me, it's always been about, a level of confidence. And, I was talking to somebody the other day about, they're like, how are you so confident? Like, how do you do this? And I'm like, honestly, like it's in practice. You practice the things that you want to be great at, whether that, you conquer it in one practice or not. I think the level of, standard that you create in practice builds confidence. So like in college, we'd set up the hack attack machine with this wicked, like, drop ball, which was better than Cat Osterman's drop ball. So it's like, if I face Cat Osterman and I can hit this drop ball, then, see how that lines up, I'm going to be successful off Cat. And I think if you, up the standard of the level that you practice at, and then you start to succeed at that level, then that builds, walls and layers of confidence. Then you go into these games facing, All-Americans, national champions, player of the year, like all these different high level athletes. You already have those layers of confidence because you've trained for it, and then you turn on the mental side of things where you're just confident and you want to beat her, and I think if you bring both of those aspects to your at bat or to, the games and stuff when you play, not that you're unbeatable, but like mentally you're unbeatable. I think I've probably lost more championships than I've actually won on the pro side of stuff. So being able to have a hard shell, a hard exterior and a hard, mental toughness, that's what it takes to be successful at the pro level, because you're going to lose. You're going to face other amazing athletes. So it's how do you keep up mentally? I'm never going to admit that somebody's a better hitter than me because I know what I can do. I know my potential and I know what I've done. And I think that just drives me to continue to be, a great athlete, a great hitter specifically. And again, putting yourself against your opponents in practice, succeeding at the very highest level that you can in practice.
Talking with Megan Wiggins, she had 3 home runs in the first week plus out in California, 5 multi-hit games. And Megan, I put myself maybe in the shoes of a younger player joining the league and listening to you talk about hitting and the mental approach. How much do you enjoy talking to younger hitters that might be just out of college and in Athletes Unlimited or maybe early in their pro career and just maybe going through the same things we're talking about in the course of a workout or even in a game in a dugout?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think, hitting is one of those things where there's like 7,000,000 different ways that you can explain it. But at the end of the day, I think it takes a layer of confidence and it just takes, practice. And it's not something that, you're going to be great at in one day. It takes years. I know people don't want to hear that, but it takes years. It takes years to become a professional. It takes, months to, break bad habits. It takes, reps after reps after reps of doing things differently to create new habits. And, just having conversations with other hitters and, younger athletes and getting on the same page as far as how their mental approach, because I hear so many different like hitting approaches and this and that, people are like, well, what do you do? What do you do? And, like, what do you look for when you hit? And I'm like, a good pitch, what I mean? A good pitch that I know I can hit. And, so there's just so many different like, mindsets when it comes to hitting, are you sitting on inside? Are you sitting on her changeup? I'm like, a good pitch, and I think that goes back to practice. Like, I want to hit something that I know I can crush. So in practice, I'm not practicing balls down the middle. Everybody can hit that. So for me, it's like expanding the things that I am great at, figuring out the things that I'm good at and practicing that in practice, so not limiting yourself to only one side of the plate during a game, because it's like a chess match. If she's throwing inside, but you're sitting outside, then you're already down 0-1 or 0-2. Or if she throws you a changeup, you don't like to swing at changeups 0-1, then now you're 0-2. And it's like, well, heck, I just wasted 2 good pitches that I can hit. I just am guessing or deciding I don't want to hit that yet. So I think it's just a entirely crazy different mindset when you think about it, and how to be successful. Not that it doesn't work for a lot of people, but a lot of what we do as a professional athlete is so mentally driven. And it's just like a chess match. So trying to figure out how you can, have all the advantages in that chess match is what I think makes, separates the good from great athletes.
So I know that you work with a travel ball team. I don't remember the name of the team, but I wanted to kind of talk about them a little bit because it's not every day that a travel ball organization gets to work with professional athletes. I know it's you and a couple other pros, but what's something maybe that like you've seen on the travel ball scene or something you've been really preaching to those younger athletes to help them get to the next level or get to wherever it is they're trying to go? Just because you're in it right now, you get to see what travel ball is like for these softball players and with the COVID years and all this other stuff when it comes to recruiting. So what's something you've really had to preach to them to kind of help them in their growth?
I think, as a professional athlete working with travel ball kids, it's like you can't even start working with them at the professional level because they don't have like the beginner level down yet. So a lot of things that we've been working on, and it's kind of like our team motto, we say we are, and it's R that stands for ARE, attitude, respect, and effort. And those are things that I think if you can live by those 3 things as an athlete, then you're going to like surpass so many other athletes, and, get down the basics through failure, through, positivity, all those things. At the end of the day, as a team and as an individual, if you can, have a good attitude, that affects so many things during the game. If you have a level of respect for yourself, your teammates, your coaches, your parents, people, college coaches that are watching the game in itself, and then your effort. If you can give me 100% effort all the time, then like I said, you're going to surpass athletes and your level of growth is going to far exceed probably your own expectations, because those 3 things I think affect so many things, that for me, for these kids, it's a 14U team, Carolina Cardinals Nationals, we're out of North Carolina predominantly. But if you can build a strong base with these girls and, get them to be good people and good athletes, then for me, that's going to make you a much better athlete down the road, because you're going to run into failures. You're going to run into obstacles. You're going to run into so many things that can hold you back. But if you have a strong core and a strong like basis as an athlete, then I think the level of success that you can have and your potential will be much higher. So
I'm taking notes. I've got a 16-year-old. We're riding the wave, right, of a good week and a rough week and everything that go. We're in Colorado and then we're in Oklahoma. So I'm taking notes, Megan. But I want to know as well about the Peaches from the Florida Gulf Coast League, this college summer league. You're so invested in this project, and I got to hear more. So enlighten me.
Yeah, I think, I work closely with Ryan Moore, the guy that heads the FGCL league. I do all the uniforms. We've had 7 million conversations. So I just decided, I want to be able to own one of these teams and, simply just provide more opportunities for these collegiate athletes during the summer. I'm thinking like, heck, if this was around when I played, I for sure would be participating, just to get more reps during the summer. And obviously I love softball. So just competing, with maybe friends that with people you don't know. And I think it's just, a different opportunity for these kids to, do a lot of growth. A lot of these kids, not all, but a lot of these kids, maybe they don't get a lot of reps during the season. Maybe they want more reps. Maybe they're working on another position. Maybe they're just working just to get better, and so it's a good opportunity for just personal growth as an individual, but also, playing for coaches that you don't know, playing with people you don't know, potentially playing a different position or doing things that are different than what your school does. It's a part of a growth thing for these collegiate athletes. And I think a lot of them can, grow. And my goal was to obviously make them better ball players, better people, but better athletes as a whole going into their season at whatever school they end up going to. And a lot of these kids will come into the league, going into the transfer portal, looking for a new home, and, being able to kind of help them with that journey and figure out where they want to go and what's their next step is something that I want to be able to give back, just with my platform and my knowledge and, contacts that I may or may not have. But at the end of the day, just helping, athletes get better and, being able to provide more opportunities in any way that I can right now was my goal with all this. And obviously the Peaches, I'm from Georgia, so that's why I named it that. But yeah, just, and I was actually able to go down there before I got home after I left Colorado. And just to be able to see the friendships that they formed and bonds and, it's like a well-oiled machine down there. And it's kind of like, it's kind of crazy because I've been on teams like that. I've been on teams that, it's just natural. It's easy. There's no drama. You just like each other because you're going out there, you're battling every day together. And so to be able to create something like that with 16 girls that really don't know each other and, a couple of coaches that I hired that I thought would be, that I thought would do a good job of helping them become better players, and being able to go down there and see that was really kind of, humbling, and I'm doing a good thing. So I really enjoyed being able to go down there.
Well, Megan, I'm looking forward to Chicago. So I really hope that we can be on the same team every weekend. That would be ideal. I'm trying to win all these games, so I'm going to need your help. So hopefully we can be on the same team.
You're trying to win. I'm trying to win some games.
Well, Megan, we appreciate the time. I love the idea of the Summer League as well. I talked to so many college baseball players. Where are you going? I'm going to the Cape. I'm going to the Northwoods League. And it's been an element, at least for me, that has been missing for college softball players. So I commend you for the work that you're doing to get that up off the ground and help these young ladies. And enjoy your last couple of days before you're back at it in Chicago soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me today.
That's Megan Wiggins. We'll step aside, come back with more on Perfect Game Softball. And welcome back to Perfect Game Softball. We're joined by Danielle O'Toole. We're continuing our theme of Athletes Unlimited. So Danielle, welcome. How much excitement is there for you to get back at it here in a couple of days, couple of weeks in Chicago?
I'm excited to just get out and see everybody. It's going to be a different group, new faces. Like Romo didn't play in the AU last year, which I would have liked to see. But, I'm super excited to have her because not only is she a great teammate, but she is hard to throw too. So it's going to be nice to see everybody out there.
So Thule, obviously you were the champion at AUX. You had a great, 4 or 5 weeks. And one thing that I just feel like is something to know, I don't think that I've ever met like a pitcher who really game plans the way that you do. I'm sure that there's others out there that do it, but I haven't witnessed it. I guess what do you do when it comes to the game planning? I know you go through the lineup when it comes to pitching to certain hitters, but what else do you do? Something that can maybe help some of these younger athletes that want to pitch like you one day.
I grew up, my mom taught me a lot. So I grew up thinking about what every hitter does individually, and you have to take that approach one step at a time. Obviously, when you get a little bit older, you can handle 3, 4, 5 in a row because you have to plan for if you get hit hard or if something happens or if a run scores. So you have to plan for that. But I definitely think looking for what hitters do and what a hitter's swing should. I don't know if a lot of people do that anymore, if they know what it's supposed to look like. But you find a hole in the swing. That's your goal. Find a hole. Where is it?
And I think that's one thing that's just really impressed me about you is, playing on Team Mexico with you and hearing you, when you were going through the USA lineup, for example, you knew everybody's swing. And I just think that that's something that's important to note because I had never heard a pitcher talk about hitters in that way. Usually pitchers are so focused on their spin and what they're going to throw specifically, but you were so focused on the swing and you would easily say Halo goes to this when she's in a 2-strike approach. And I'm like, what in the world? How did she know that? So the fact that you're also savvy on the hitter side, I think is just something important to note because I think that that's one thing that makes you a tough pitcher because you do know our swings. And so you can tell maybe if it's off a little bit and what you want to throw. But what do you do to get yourself there? Is it really just video, watching everyone swing? Is it paying attention your pitch sequence specifically? How do you get to that point? Because I'm sure it wasn't easy to get there.
No. It wasn't. I think that I've been playing, and same as you, we've been playing against these people for so long that you just know what the swing is supposed to look like, what their swing is supposed to look like. You know, there are a couple people who, when they have to kind of get back in the groove of things, you can kind of see that there's a little hitch, or they can't reach one pitch right now, but when they're on, they can reach it, and then you kind of go for that, which sounds really cutthroat, but it's not. It's just part of the game. I used to watch video a lot, but now that we know everybody, it's just more like off of feel. But video used to be like my big thing. I'd spend hours and hours and hours on video. I look at it more like a test, like the game, pitching in a game is a test, and the video is the answer. So why don't you want them?
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this discussion. Danielle O'Toole joining us here on Perfect Game Softball. And you mentioned, you know a lot of these hitters. You've done some video work, but you've also faced them. I'm curious, though, if there's maybe a hitter that you haven't faced a lot or haven't seen a lot, how it becomes this game of adjustments, maybe pitch to pitch, where you pick up something, you notice something on a swing or a take that might impact your next pitch as you kind of have that ultimate chess match back and forth.
Yeah, definitely. And Romo can tell you on this one. So I have a good changeup, and I think that some people will sit on it, or like kind of they might be waiting for it, or they might want something else, but they're prepared for it. So I always ask, like, hey, does it look like they're late? That's the question because sometimes on slappers I can't see it, or sometimes the foul ball just goes by too quickly for me and I just can't see it. So I'll turn around and I'll ask somebody that I usually trust, and if Romo's there on second, I'll ask her. But I'll say, hey, do they look late? So it's like I get help from like outside stuff, just kind of like figure out during the at bat. I don't know if there's a hitter that I haven't seen a lot of. There is somebody that I hate throwing to. I hate throwing to Erica Piocaselli. I don't know what it is. She has such a I don't want to say baseball swing, but her barrel drops so like low in the zone, and I throw low in the zone, so I have to basically defy all of my laws in my brain and throw the ball up, which you don't want on a home run hitter, but for her I have to.
And a special thank you to Danielle O'Toole, who joined us. She was the first ever Athletes Unlimited Aux champion, walked away with the title with more than 1,400 points. Also, thank you to Megan Wiggins for joining us. We had the pitcher, we had the hitter, the power, a little bit of everything today. Thanks for joining us. For Sierra Romero, I'm Brett Dolan. It's been a pleasure to have you aboard Perfect Game Softball.